Welcome back to Protecting the Legal Rights of Artists and Designers, taught at Columbus College of Art and Design, CCAD. This is the pizza shop lesson. Normally we do this in the classroom, and it's actually done with pizza. So unfortunately, with the schools closing and everything being shifted online, you don't get that part of the experience. But I still want to relay this to you, so I'm recording it. You've got the whole pizza shop metaphor, and I think it's a good way to try and think about ownership in a business, setting it up, getting investors, and dividing up rights and responsibilities. So we'll go ahead and start the presentation. The idea for this presentation actually came to me when we were using the LinkedIn Learning materials, and the materials with Dana Robinson seemed a little bit confusing, and so I worked this into the class as well. Having all these different pieces when it comes to business structures and the financing can be a little bit confusing. There are all sorts of different factors that are unique to each business, with size and structure, who's involved with owners and investors, founders, directors, and managers. So this is meant to sort of clarify things. It all folds into the idea of how to make a pizza. And the pizza equals business for the sake of this metaphor. When you're thinking about making a pizza, when you're thinking about starting a business, you have to think about who will be included. Who are the bakers? Who are the eaters? What ingredients will you use? How are you going to pay for it? Remember, there are different ways that you can make a pizza, different ways that you can set up a business. Sole proprietorships and partnerships, limited liability companies and corporations. All these different options that you can think about. How are you going to put this together? We'll start off with sole proprietorships. So, sole proprietorship, remember, is where you have one person, one baker, one eater. That person owns the business and also owns all the responsibilities and all the headaches. The owner controls the pizza, but has to pay for the ingredients and the cost of making it. The sole proprietor gets to decide how big to make the pizza, what ingredients to put into it, if it's going to be thin crust or thick crust, deep dish, gets to enjoy all of those decisions and gets to eat the pizza and enjoy that as well. And the sole proprietor has to think about where's the money going to come from to pay for the pizza, to pay for the kitchen, for the electricity, for the gas, for the stove, all those different things. They have to invest the money, or they have to borrow that money and then pay it back. But most importantly, the sole proprietor owns the business. The sole proprietor owns that pizza and gets to eat all of the slices. Next, we've got partnerships or limited liability companies, where you have two or more people that want to start a business, where they say, we want to make a pizza. Now, it's great when you have two or more people because you have a lot more resources and you have other people that you can depend upon, but there's also a lot more that can go wrong. The owners can share expenses and rewards. The flexibility allows for unequal sharing, for different types of distribution, and for having different responsibilities within the business in making the pizza. So it can be where more slices go to some of the partners or some of the members than to others. This arrangement works for small to mid-sized businesses. So for a pizza that isn't going to be too big, and a pizza that isn't going to be too small, or if you don't need to make multiple pizzas, partnership can work. And here's the thing, get it in writing, get it in writing, get it in writing. You want to have a partnership agreement in writing at the beginning so everybody knows what's going to happen. Something like having a recipe so that everybody knows what's supposed to happen, what's supposed to go into the pizza, and what the end product's going to be. So share the recipe and write it down. Get a partnership agreement. All right, the next option is corporations. And for a business structure for making a pizza, This works where you have people that want to set up a business but don't have enough resources to put the business together, and so they take on investors. With the investors, this gets a little bit more complicated. More people are involved, and they take on different roles in the process of making the pizza. So here's your scorecard. Who is who in that corporate setup? You have founders. These are person or persons who set up the business, kind of like a chef. You've got the owners, kind of like customers who invest and purchase the slices. You've got managers who control the process and let everybody know when the pizza's ready. So they handle the details of the operations. People like the officers and the directors. So the president and the CEO and the CFO and the executive director, managers of operation, they'll handle important decisions and the things that help put that pizza together. You've got all these different people that are involved, and then you also, when you're thinking about this, you need to think about who is going to be dealing with the risk. Will there be pizza? Is it going to be burnt? Is it going to be overcooked, undercooked, too small, too big? All these different things that you need to consider. And who shares in that risk and how much? So, with the owners and investors, with a corporation, their risk is limited. If things don't work out, the investors and the owners might be out the money that they've put into the business, the ingredients and the funding that they've put for the pizza, but it limits their liability. Again, not everything works out. Sometimes the pizza doesn't turn out, or sometimes there isn't pizza at all. But at least this is a way of limiting the liability so that the owners and investors aren't personally liable. Now, at this point of the presentation, normally I'm passing out pizza and everybody's enjoying that experience. I guess, my apologies for not having that under the circumstances. Feel free to take inspiration, and you can go and order a pizza, or you can make your own pizza. But I want you to be thinking about making a pizza and how that relates to a business. Shares of stock, shares of ownership, slices, the risks that are involved, sharing the responsibilities, and enjoying the rewards. Hopefully this will help you in thinking about what goes into starting a business, just like what goes into making a pizza.